Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Time Travelers Extreme Super Battle Road stage. So basically this is obviously the Extreme Super Battle Road version of the Time Travelers stage. An interesting thing, I guess, overall for this stage or for Esbr in general is that stunning and sealing and attack lowering are all back in vogue. So we're going to use a team that does exactly that. So we are using the Dragon Ball Heroes team. It would also be pretty fun to use a Heroes team considering Dragon Ball Heroes is probably around the corner. Usually Dragon Ball Heroes comes out in the kind of November period, so it's usually a pretty strong time to take a look at what Dragon Ball Heroes as a category can do. And Dragon Ball Heroes is very strong. So we have, at least on my side, we have the lead. So we've got the Divine Warrior who protects space and time, Super Saiyan God Trunks. A very good unit, especially when there is Dragon Ball Heroes category units on the team. He's overall very strong. So to cut a long story short, his passive is multiplicative, so he gets up to a total of 520% attack and defense, which is pretty good. He also seals attack as well, which is great, and he has a high chance of performing a critical hit when performing a super attack. So Trunks is very good. I personally love Trunks. I think he's great. I love the Heroes team because I love Trunks, and I went super hard to get this guy. He's a very good unit. Alongside him, we're going to be running the Xenopan, also an exceptional unit. She has attack and defense of 140%. Dragon Ball Heroes category allies get 40% attack and defense. She's got a high chance of performing a critical hit, high chance of evading the enemy super attack. She has an additional defense of 50% with each attack evaded, and an additional attack and defense of 50% per Dragon Ball category allies, excluding herself attacking in the same turn. So she's pretty nutty. To cut a long story short, she's really solid. So she is very good. I think she's probably one of the units people really appreciate the most out of the Heroes banner because of her evasion, because of her sealing, because of her ability to really improve defense. So Xenopan, super duper solid. So you got Xenopan, you've got Trunks, that's kind of like the super side of the team. And then the rest of the team, I thought I'd go with some of the units that are likely to awaken. So these units aren't even Dokkan awakened. So that is how insane these units are. So like before you, like this Robaloo, she's not even awakened. Like she's just an SSR. Okay, and she has attack and defense of 80%. She has an additional 80% when attacking, plus an additional attack of 180% when the target enemy super attack is sealed. She seals super attack on her base super attack, and she randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow. She also has a high chance of evading the enemy's super attack and a high chance of foreseeing super attack when there is another Dragon Ball Heroes category ally in the turn. So she is insane in terms of utility. Foreseeing super attacks, evasion, sealing, and rainbow key spheres, that's nuts. Then alongside her, well, not necessarily alongside her, but the other SSR that we have is Supreme Kai of Time, Brainwashed. Now, the Supreme Kai of Time, Brainwashed, is a unit that in SBR and ESBR can be obscene. So she's just an SSR, okay, and she massively raises defense for one turn. She has attack and defense of 90%, plus an additional 90% when performing a super attack. She has an additional attack of 90% when the target is in attack down status, and another 90% when they're in defense down status. She gets another 90% if they are sealed, and she'll gain another 90% if they are stunned. Now obviously getting all those requirements is pretty tough, but her total attack boost can be 945%. I mean, you've seen it already. She's hit like a 5 million attack stat. This is an SSR unit that's not even being catered to. Yeah, that's just her throwing out some damage. Not to mention, she has a rare chance of stunning all enemies at the start of turn, which is something that's incredibly helpful. And then alongside them, or kind of as the feature unit of the extreme rotation, is Dark King Mecha Deborah. Dark King Mecha Deborah is a unit that is obscene. He has attack and defense of 150% with an additional attack and defense of 80% when performing a super attack. He also gets an additional attack and defense of 20% per key sphere, and an additional attack and defense of 80% with 2 or more AGL key spheres, 80% with strength or physical key spheres, and defense 80% with tech or int key spheres. He also recovers 8% HP per rainbow key sphere. So this guy, when he has his full bonuses, can have 494% attack and defense, plus 36% per orb, and he's healing 8% back. You'll see that he'll launch like 4 million attack stats. And again, not a unit that I'm specifically building around. I'm not, giving him tons of support. I'm not catering to him. He's not got his best link partner or anything like that. Just an absolute beast of a unit. So yeah, team's looking pretty nutty. And then to top it all off, as a support, I am using the Int Vardos. So, not Vardos, sorry, Toa, Demon Goddess Toa. So you could use either. So I use the Demon Goddess Toa instead of using the AGL Toa. So the AGL Toa is a very good unit, especially like when there's superclass enemies, or like a mixture, but she like only really supports extreme class enemies, whereas Toa gives a little bit of support for everyone, which is something that's pretty good, along with also giving a heal as well. But both her and the AGL one are very good. You could use both if you really want to. I just personally prefer the Int one, but honestly it doesn't really matter. So Toa's here with a heal, she's here with the ability to seal, she lowers attack of the enemy, all really good. The one added benefit I would say of bringing the AGL Toa is that she lowers attack and defense, which would set up our brainwashed Supreme 5 time pretty well. Now obviously a lot of you are not going to have DB Heroes units. Quite frankly, you should invest on the DB Heroes banner at least once. Like at least once in your Dokkan career, you should go ham on the DB Heroes banner. It's a ton of fun. The heroes are awesome. The characters are awesome. They're so much fun to use. They have like these really wonky, crazy designs, like Supreme 5 time, where like they can just be absurd, or they are just generally very ridiculously solid and reliable units. Like the Toa units, like Trunks, like Pan. You're not going to be able to use them on every team. A lot of the times you're going to have to use them on a heroes team. But they are so good. Like they are so good. So I would honestly suggest that you invest at least a little bit in the heroes banner, at least from my side. But that's just me. Like you obviously don't have to do that, but that would be what I would suggest. Like here, you're gonna see just some obscene stuff. Obviously, just in terms of support items or support memories, support items are pretty straightforward. I think you would have seen them already in the form of a Whis, Icarus, Princess Snake, Android 8. It's my go-to, it's my go-to in terms of like just everything, basically. For this stage, I did decide to use the Goku Becomes a Kid support item. So the reason being is all enemies have attack and defense at -5% for 2 turns. So it's a nice little, kind of just takes the edge off. And then it also does an additional attack and defense of -5% for all enemies if there's a Goku's Family category enemy. Doesn't really proc too much here, but I thought this is probably one of the slightly better ones to use. We have a mixed team of extreme and super class, so I didn't really want to use like a super class or an extreme class buffing item, and so I thought let's just rather go for the Goku item. The most notable one will probably be Trunks and Mai's Reunion, which is all allies attack and defense of 10% for 2 turns from the start of battle when there are 2 or more allies of Time Travelers category. That's also something that would have really helped. Krillin Sings His Heart Out is also really good because it's a 5% debuff on the first turn, 4% on the second, and 3% on the third. It's also something I'll use quite frequently in ESBR, just because obviously the nature of the event, attack and defense lowering is quite helpful, and these 5% don't sound like much, but when you couple them with an item, it's just pretty good. Like, you know what I mean? I just think it's a pretty solid build. I think we did fine. Like I said, it can be a little bit difficult because obviously you can't really replicate this team if you haven't summoned on like the Heroes banner. You're going to struggle to obviously make this team, but I think for the most part, for me at least, I would say it's a fairly fun team build to do. And if you can't do this now, Heroes is just around the corner, so look forward to having an excuse to summon on Heroes. If you really want to be Time Travelers, Heroes is definitely going to be something that's going to help you complete that. That's it from me. Bye.